Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Our guest today is Joeaux Robey. She's known to many simply as the Joy. Joy is the CEO, visionary, and master of reinvention at Soulopreneur Productions. After a profound spiritual transformation, she made the bold decision to leave her role as executive vice president of a search engine marketing agency serving Fortune 500 companies and step fully into her purpose-driven work. Today, she helps entrepreneurs align their business with their soul's calling, transforming passion and purpose into both profit and fulfillment. Joy believes success doesn't have to come at the expense of joy. Through her unique philosophy of plurk, where play and work come together, she teaches entrepreneurs how to create businesses and lives they genuinely love. In today's conversation, we're exploring what it really means to build a soul-aligned business, why so many entrepreneurs find themselves successful but unfulfilled, and the surprising key to creating both the income and the impact that they desire. Now, before we wrap up, Joy is going to be sharing a special gift with our audience to help you discover how to bring more purpose, profit, and joy into your business journey. Make sure you stick around for that. Joy, welcome. Thank you for joining me for Monday Morning Business Foreplay inside Potapalooza.
Thank you, Coleen. And I don't think I've heard my name mentioned so many times in a 1 minute segment ever. So thank you for that too. You know, one of the greatest things we like to hear is our name, right?
Well, and we want the world to know you. I will start by saying one of the things, my taglines is you can have both a business and a life you're madly passionate about.
Yes.
And so I think that it takes us getting to the pause, to midlife, where life just kind of pauses for a second, allows us a little retrospection, and we say, I did the things. I did the obligations. I helped the people, my loved ones, my family, my kids I raised. I did these things. And now we're pausing and looking forward and understanding that, number one, we can do it because by golly, we made it to this age and that was a lot of work, right? And number two, we want to do it well and have joy in our journey. And so we kind of recreate and build things out that way. And if you don't, you should. So tell us, Joy, for anybody who hasn't met you before right now, who are you and what brought you to the work that you're doing today?
Well, I work with spiritual entrepreneurs mostly, mind, body, spirit type of businesses. And the way that I help them expand into the sweet spot that I like to work in is going to 7 figures. And the reason why is because that is when you can have a massive impact. It does take money to get your message out into the world. And one of the things about being in the spiritual business is that there's a lot of people who actually have a hard time with money. They have a hard time charging for their services because they feel like, well, I'm spiritually employed, so I shouldn't be charging, which is absolutely not true. And so I love to play in that spot. How I got here is I actually had a nervous breakdown. I was working in corporate and I'm, the typical story of everything looked good from the curb, 2 kids, husband, great house near the ocean. And I was miserable. Everybody else was happy, but I was miserable. My kids were going off to college. And one night I was coming home from work and it was the simplest thing. My mom called me. It was like 8:30, a late night at work. I was stopping at Costco, like a quick trip on my way home. And she called me and I answered the phone and she said, "How are you?" And I had a nervous breakdown. And I think that for a lot of women, especially, and I was at that time, I was right at 50 years old, right at that point. And my kids were going off, and I don't think I'd ever ask myself what I wanted. I was on default. Like things had come easily. I had a great job. Like I really had no reason to complain. I was a marathon runner. I coached soccer, but all of those things kind of came to me. And so I did them. But I don't think I ever stopped and asked what it was that I wanted to do. And I think I was just on the on and off switch, just going, 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 going. But then when that happened and I sat down in the middle of the parking lot and just started crying, I realized that something was happening actually physically in my body, that I needed to pay attention to. And I wasn't sick or anything like that. It's not like I had, some disease. I just realized that I was holding everything in my body. And so I started to assess my life, and I actually went down a spiritual path at that time. And I started working because I love my work. I was working with Fortune 500 companies. I started meeting these amazing spiritual teachers, and they were terrible business people. And so I started working with them, and that's how I got here and it's not often that you see business people in that niche, because spiritual people want everything to be out there and very woo-woo, but business is grounded. You even if your message is out there, you still have to be grounded to work a business. You know this, Coleen. And so I was like really easy to spot because the people that I was working with suddenly had clarity, they had branding, they were like moving up in the world. And that's how I got here.
So they came out of the bushes, right? Because I've met a lot of people that are on that spiritual journey, and it seems like it's very much just earthy and natural and a little more laid back and less structured than business, right? For
Yeah.
sure. So I think
Yeah.
what you said about you hadn't asked yourself how you are. I think for a lot of midlife women that other people don't ask us that. And so when we ask ourselves that, when we decide that, then we also understand that it's up to us to make the change to make how we are better, right? And just connecting that in midlife. I don't know why that happens. My youngest moved out when I was 49, and it was probably when I was about 52. And I was like,
You're
now
like,
what? Yeah. I literally was like, okay, I have to not recreate who I am, but recreate the life that I've built because the needs have shifted and the desires have shifted and they all deserve acknowledgement. And it's my turn, and I want it to feel good to me, not just to meet the end goal.
right.
My end goal became to find joy in the journey, not to raise my children a certain way, to have them become a certain type of citizen, not to do my best at this other thing. It was to actually find joy in my journey. So let's focus a little bit on creating a soul aligned path to success. Why do so many entrepreneurs end up building businesses that look successful from the outside, businesses and lives, but don't feel fulfilling on the inside?
So that's an interesting question because in most of the spiritual businesses, that's not exactly true. Like a lot of them feel successful with their message and their business and what they're doing. They love what they do, but they're struggling. The part that they have a hard time with is that if you're not making any money, you are doing all the work. And so they're burning out on the marketing and the business side. They love teaching classes, they love working with people. That's their passion and that's what keeps them going. But the truth is, the business side is burning them out. So for them, creating a soul-aligned business is really about owning up to the fact that if it's not a business, it's a hobby. Okay. And if you want to make a living at it, then you need to treat it like a business. And so I speak both languages. I can walk both sides of the path, but I also know how important it is. I've watched so many spiritual businesses, really big names actually that are out there that I've worked with, that they can't stop working right now. They cannot retire. From the stage, they look like they're successful and doing great, but they didn't set up their business in a way that it's scalable at all. Like they have to show up and keep working because the business is based upon them. They didn't create products and programs or certifications and things like that, And that's where I come in, is that all of these things that you love as a spiritual person and that you enjoy doing, just take it to the next level so you can leverage it a little bit. And it's okay to charge more money. There's always going to be that 5% of your market that actually wants to pay you more money, and they can actually support your business, so they have to get to a point where they can get over the fact that, people do charge 10,000, 25,000, $100,000 for different types of programs. It's
And
not
people
uncommon.
do pay that. People do pay that for it.
Look
So
at Tony Robbins,
yeah. Well, and you know what? I've seen this a lot in the brick and mortar world. My first 8 businesses were brick and mortar businesses. And during one season of about 7 years, I had a boutique. And in that time, there were 5 boutiques that opened right around me within a couple blocks of me, opened and went out of business within 7 months at the most. And this is because they were passion driven businesses. They were so passionate about it. And so they jumped right in and built this business. They had all these grand ideas, no idea how to implement them, no idea how to build processes or systems or anything to support it as a foundation. They just jumped in like it felt good. And those were the people that, I mean, and I would help some of them along the way, but they weren't up for a business discussion. And so when you say that, yeah, it's supposed to feel good and it's supposed to appear good, but it also is business and there are business boundaries that need set and put in place, I totally understand that. And that really does resonate because I've seen it time and time again where they have one but not the other instead of combining both.
Yeah.
That is it's a great talent to be able to be playful and profitable, right? Have fun while you're building a business that is foundationally sound and can support you financially. So
Yeah.
you teach entrepreneurs to turn passion and purpose into profit. What are some of the, let's say, what are 2 key shifts that you see people need to make to go from floundering in fun to creating a business that aligns with who they are and is profitable?
Okay, number one, they have to get over their money blocks, okay? They have to like stop pulling numbers from thin air because it feels good to them, and they need to look at their costs and how much money that they're bringing in. And that's the biggest one that I see with spiritual businesses, and that triggers a lot of people. Like and my high ticket offer is called $1 million light worker, and it's called that because I want to trigger people. I
Me
want them to ask themselves, why am I triggered? Like, why should that bother me? And I want to have that conversation because that is the biggest thing that I see that keeps spiritual businesses from flourishing. And then the other thing is being seen. The quickest way to grow your business, you said it when we came on, is relationships. And what's the fastest way to build relationships? There's 2 ways to do it. One is get on stages, like we're talking here, right? I showed up, you're going to put me out there. I mean, and we're going to become friends. And I already said, you should come on my podcast. This is how it works. It's like you get out there and you meet like-minded people and you create things. It's fun, but a lot of entrepreneurs, spiritual entrepreneurs, are afraid to get out of the closet. They're like they're really comfortable in their little group, but they don't know how to get their message out to, like, you should be able to sit next to any person on the planet and tell them what you do for a living. And it doesn't look like this. It doesn't say, Coleen, I'm a channel. Coleen, I'm a healer. No, it doesn't look like that when you're sitting on a plane next to somebody. You say something like, I help people be happy, and you ease into it. It's like a conversation, it's a fun game, right? It's a fun game on how do I connect rather than, oh, the world won't accept me as I am. I think there's a lot of really powerful spiritual messages out there. And I think one of the things about working with spiritual businesses is they're intuitive. Like they should be way ahead of the game. That should be like their strong point in business. But then they doubt themselves when it comes to these 3D skills.
Well, and I think that financial education is so important. I didn't understand the importance of that because I was raised in a well-grounded family that taught us about finances from the time we were little itty bitty. But I think that when people don't educate themselves on finances, they're hurting themselves the most. I think it's an embarrassment. I think a lot of it ties back to how they were raised or things in their youth, things that have happened in life that they just are like, no, I'll be fine. And they don't understand the blessing, the tool, the resource that finances can be when you thoroughly understand them and when you can look at your business and see where you are. And I think so many entrepreneurs just need to let go of all the thoughts and stifling perceptions they have about money and be open to learning more. I have seen many people, as you said, just pull numbers out of air. And you're like, okay, well, let's talk about the foundation of that number. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? And so what do you have? What do you have to make to keep your doors open? And I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've met that just had a good idea and came online to build a business and they didn't invest in it. They thought they could just do it for free. And I'm like, really? So interesting. Such a different way of looking at things. So let's talk about one thing, one piece of advice that you would give our listeners that they could do this week to become more aligned with their purpose and create more joy while building a profitable business.
This is so easy. So take out a piece of paper and create 2 columns, put a line right down the middle, and list on the left-hand side everything you love to do, absolutely love to do. And on the right-hand side, list everything that you hate to do, that you absolutely do not want to do. Do the things that you love to do. There's other people out there that will do the things that you don't love to do. And if you're trying to grow a business, when you start up a business, as you know, you wear all the hats, you do everything. However, there's all kinds of ways you can have other people, other than paying them, help you grow your business. You can find a business partner that is like all the things that you're not. There's so many ways, but the key is business is fun when you love what you're doing. It's so the passion about what you're doing is one thing. I do believe that you need passion to start a business. Your why has to be very strong because even when you love what you're going to do, there's going to be days where you're like, I cannot sit in front of the computer today. I need to get out and walk in, bare feet in the grass. So I think it's just so important that you understand yourself, know thyself. It's like me saying in the beginning, I just did everything on default and I had a nervous breakdown, it was because I never thought about, did I like it? No, people just said, you're good at this, do this. And it just went down that path. I didn't ask myself if I liked it, but ask yourself if do what you love. The money will follow. If you do what you love, the money will follow.
It does. And that reminds me, as a kid, my mom would say to me, change your face. Watch your face.
That's good.
Watch your face. This is what I find when I'm doing things that I hate or sitting in the wrong room or all the things. I have the face that tells it. I have to do the things I love. If I'm not passionate about it, you will know, right? And my kids
love that.
when they were teenagers, Mom, fix your face. My friends are here and they know you hate them. Let me fix it really quick. Joy, this has been such a joy today. Very funny, huh? You do have a gift for our audience. Can you tell us about it and tell us how it's going to help the entrepreneurs that are listening in today?
One of the most important things about business is knowing who your customer is. So many people will start a business because they're passionate about something, but they don't know who they're selling to. And once you know the specific, and I'm not talking about the them, I'm not talking about the 5 people, I'm talking about the one person that is your ideal customer. Once you know that, they'll tell you everything. They'll tell you their pain points, how you can solve them. It's really easy to do business and market with them. So what I have for your listeners, Coleen, is something that helps them find that soulmate client and takes the guesswork out. And it's just a very simple ChatGPT prompt that will give them instant clarity. It'll ask them questions because we don't always know ourselves, right? It'll ask them questions so that they can figure out who that soulmate client is, and they can grab it at my website at soulopreneur.com. That's SOULO preneur, PRENEUR.com /. yes dash please, and they can grab it there.
I love that. Somebody said to me earlier that we only see ourselves from the inside, not the outside. And so a prompt like that will help us to see from the outside as well. This has been so much fun. If today's conversation resonated with you, make sure you connect with Joy, continue the conversation, and grab her free gift. We will have all of her information available with this episode. Joy, thank you for joining us for Monday Morning Business Foreplay inside Potapalooza. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Coleen, and thank you for what you're doing.